Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 25 of The Good, the Dan, the Florida Man. With you, as always, your hosts.
I'm Ryan, I'm the Good, and we've got...
The Dan, I'm Daniel Spencer, the Daniel Spencer, and we also have...
Ben, the Florida Man. We're just gonna move past. It's fine. You guys know what the drill is at this point, and if you don't, that's the drill. You just heard it. There is no drill.
There is no drill.
There is no drill. Well, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I hope we say some things that make you want to come back and listen again. We are three stand-up comedians that just kind of tell stories and talk about history and tell other people's stories and interview famous people and we just have fun, and every week it's kind of a different thing, and we're still figuring it out too, but I hope it's enjoyable every time.
It's a menagerie of shenanigans.
It really is.
That is a really good way of putting it. We are a menagerie of shenanigans, and since we are still stand-up comedians, the world is slowly opening back up. We are getting back on the road. So Ryan, is there anything you got coming up that people can see you?
Yeah, I got a show in Raleigh, North Carolina on 9/14, then on 9/15, still in North Carolina at Charlotte, and then 9/16 in Nashville, Tennessee. If you're curious about like specifics, places, check my website, Youth Pastor Ryan. After that, I've got 9:30 to 10:02 at Naples Off the Hook, which is in Florida, 10:28 Tempe, and then 4 through 6 that weekend in DC at the DC Comedy Loft, which I'm super stoked to go do, because it's apparently like right next to the White House, which I think is hilarious that like people are making the most important decisions, and then there's me with giggles like 1,000 yards away. Like that's ridiculous. Oh. Dan, what you got?
I'm mainly just doing open mics in Utah, so come check me out. But then I also have the show on the 17th with this guy named Ben Brainard, who's fantastic. Hey. So you should come check that out. And then I also have on the 30th a show at WWII's in Ogden, Utah, so come and check it out there too. Ben?
Nice.
I got a bunch of stuff coming up. September 17th, I'll be in West Jordan, Utah, closing for a guy named Dan Spencer at Wise Guys. The next day, on the 18th, I'll be in Provo, Utah, filming a dry bar special. Nice. October 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, I'll be in Ohio. On the 4th is Liberty Township, Ohio, at the Funny Bone. The show actually... Oh, wait, no, I add another show on the 3rd. So I'll be there 10/3 as well in Cleveland, Ohio, at Hilarities. The 4th, Liberty Township, Ohio, at Funny Bone. The 5th in Dayton, Ohio, has been canceled. We'll try and reschedule that one for later. The 6th in Toledo, Ohio, Funny Bone. 7th in Columbus, Ohio, at the Funny Bone. And then a couple weeks later, still in October, I'll be in the Carolinas. On the 17th, Raleigh, North Carolina. The 18th, Greenville, South Carolina. The 19th, Charlotte, North Carolina. The 20th, Greensboro, North Carolina. And that's at the Raleigh Improv and the Comedy Zones at Greenville, Charlotte, and Greensboro. October 29th, I'll be in Irvine, California, opening for Frank Caliendo at the Irvine Improv. And then October 30th, I'll be in Oxnard, California at the Oxnard Levity Live, also opening for Frank Caliendo. It sounds like a lot of stuff, but it is. I'm tired.
I was like, yeah, no, you can't make that not a lot of things. That's just a lot of things.
It just is what it is.
It's a lot of, like, one-nighters. There's no weekends. It'd be so much easier if I was just like, here's my 4 weekends for the next 4 weeks. But no, I'm just doing a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday run here and there. We have no shows for the podcast coming up.
But we'd like
as of
to,
right
so
now,
book us. Yeah.
Absolutely. We had so much fun at the University of Minnesota Morris.
They were so cool. I like them a lot.
Today's episode, we'll be talking about some history stuff with Ryan's Ridiculous History. But before we get into that, Ryan, I hear you had a little bit of fun in Pennsylvania a couple days ago.
I went to go to a show. Get this, guys. I performed at Lebanon Valley College. I did not know it was a Christian school before I got there. It's a Methodist school. They had me perform in the chapel. I performed as Youth Pastor Ryan in a chapel. It was and they were great, by the way. They were an awesome audience. Yeah, I was like...
You went to a college in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and you're like, no way, this is a religious thing.
I didn't put it together. I was super... Well, plus the guy was like, hey, you're going to be performing inside that building. And I walk into this building, and I see chapel and... Guys, my green room was the prayer room. Do you know how funny and ridiculous this is?
Just sit in the green room like, God, please, God, let this go well.
Let this not suck. Yeah.
I need to make rent this month, and if the Christians hate me, I lose all of
That's it. They were great, though. They were a fantastic audience. Loved them a lot. Got to try some new stuff with them, which was super fun. I had a very weird thing happen, though, where I was driving around Pennsylvania, and there was this white BMW that was driving in front of me, and there was a car in front of it, driven by the most Hoosier redneck that has ever existed. Now, the guy in the white BMW
Hold
was
on,
doing like...
just pause really quick. You said Hoosier.
Yeah.
You were in Pennsylvania.
I know it's not, but for us, for like in Missouri, it was all like Hoosiers and rednecks are the same thing to us.
Okay. Yeah, because you hate Indiana.
Exactly. And
Okay.
Kansas, because it's just anyone around us. We're just like, back off.
Yeah. That's how the Midwest works. If you touch me, I hate you.
Right? Yeah, Indiana didn't even have to touch us. We just hate them. But I essentially there's this dude, and so this dude in the white BMW is kind of driving like crazy, and then he pulls off. But I am also driving a white car. I'm in a Kia Forte. By the way, you can also take that car up to 100 miles an hour. Fun fact.
I'm so glad that you're
Ryan.
figuring these things out for us, because like I was never going to.
By the way, I allegedly, in case
Sure. No,
police
you
listen to
Googled
this.
it.
Yeah,
with
I
your
Googled
foot.
it. Anyway, I did. I foot Googled. Anyway, so I'm driving behind this guy now, and this dude, we're on a single lane highway, and he gets ready to take a left, and just gets out of his car and starts yelling at me. And like in a fit of road rage, like, someone needs to tell you how to drive. And it's like, dude.
Someone does need to tell you how to drive. You're saying
that's
Kia
fair.
Forte 100 miles an hour in Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
Honestly, I'd just been following him at a very normal thing, but it was it was a mistaken identity thing where it was a different white car that had ticked him off. And then that guy got, and so I had done nothing wrong, and I don't like being yelled at all. And but I'm a pretty peaceful guy most of the time.
A pretty good history of being mistaken for people that you're not.
Yeah, no, that's actually really true, and I didn't think about that until I was moments ago when I put that together. Yeah, it's so
when I said it out loud.
Yeah, when it became an out loud thing. But yeah, so
you should have just said like, I'm actually in a gang, and you should
My
not.
name's Saber.
What's up? Yeah, what's up? My name's Saber, and you should back off, buddy.
Instead, I yelled at him in a PG way, which I found out is way scarier than yelling at someone in rated R, because you expect people to yell at you in rated R, but when I looked at this man and said, you need to stop yelling at me, or I'm gonna make you a ghost. I don't know why that's what I told him, but like me and my buddy Daniel had this conversation about ghosts recently.
How are you doing that? That is so... I hate this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you a ghost?
I told him
That's what popped into your head at that moment?
So get this, I said, I'm gonna make you a ghost, and then I said, and you're gonna be a stupid looking ghost because you got that mullet. Like, I just came for this man's whole hairstyle.
Jeez, man. Devastating.
And he shut up. He got back in his car. I don't think he was prepared to get judged on the mullet. He looked like if Shaggy Rogers had a mullet from Scooby-Doo. And I was just like, you look like the most
His
unemployable
last name is
Shaggy.
Rogers?
Yeah, believe it or not.
You decided to go up against the most powerful being in the universe, Shaggy.
He was only on 0.1% power. That's how I could take it. But yeah, the guy got back in his car. I think he was just like,
Before I make you a
confused.
ghost, he's like, I already am all states of being.
Plus, I was on my way to get a sandwich, so I was like, don't interrupt that, okay? I love sandwiches.
So you were hangry, and that's where the road rage was really good.
I think this was in Pennsylvania, though, right?
It was in Pennsylvania, yeah.
You were on your way to get a hoagie, not a sandwich.
A hoagie, yes. From Wawa.
I actually didn't get the. There was a place called Kelly's Kitchen. There were Wawas there.
Okay, so you were Eastern Pennsylvania then.
Yeah, I was.
If you were in Western Pennsylvania, it would have been Sheetz.
Sheetz. There was also some Sheetz in Eastern. It looks like a kind of a gang war thing that they got going on.
Yeah, it is. It's a fierce debate.
Wawa and Sheetz.
Well, guys,
am I the only one that gets a little weirded out when I bring up the bizarre, random state facts like that?
I don't get weirded out. I kind of expect it from you, and if I didn't, it would be weird. Because you state. Anyway,
I state.
He states.
I state.
Guys,
Iowa State.
Are you ready for some ridiculous history today?
I am.
I'm actually not, because I went to go fill up my water before the podcast started, and I think I left it in the kitchen.
Oh, do you want a quick second?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go grab the water that I... My ADHD did a thing this morning, and here it is.
Here it is. Right during the podcast.
I'm running. I'm not running. But hydrate or dehydrate, private.
Do 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 do.
I'm back.
Do do do.
No, I said I'm back.
Nope. Okay. All right. Now we've got. Are you guys ready for Ryan's ridiculous history?
Yeah.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about Aimo Koivunen.
Oh, okay.
We have been practicing. People need to know. They have been practicing the pronunciation all before this podcast. We probably said it 100 times before we even started broadcasting.
We spent like 20 minutes to listen to Ryan go Aimo Koivunen, and then me going, he's not Australian.
Yeah, no, he's
not. I would love it if he was called
Finnish.
Aimo Koivunen, because I feel like it fits his behavior a little bit more naturally.
Oh, with what comes next? It absolutely does. Emo? Oh, God dang it! No, it's
Aimo Koivunen. Just call him that. That's his real nickname.
This is just a Methy Finnish story. This is going to be a very great time. So let's just set a picture for you.
I hate that.
It's World War II. And if you don't know a thing about the Finnish in World War II, 1939, the Russians are like, man, you know what we need more of? Finland. And Joseph Stalin's like, go invade Finland. And so the Russians went and they invaded Finland, but the Finns were really good at war, so they fought something called the Winter War. That's actually where you get the guy who had the most confirmed kills in World War II. His name was Simo Koivunen. I mean, oh man.
That's also where you get the Winter Soldier.
The Finnish know how to finish things, is what you're trying to say.
I don't think they do. They do. They do.
Okay. How many more of these?
You may start something,
so
but the Finnish will finish it.
Well, they were really rushing into the war,
two.
but then it was finished.
Okay, that's 3.
Oh man.
Oh, great.
Can we get a running tally just to the top left of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
How many times can we say Aimo Koivunen and finish?
We're going to turn this episode into a drinking challenge. It's a drinking game now.
No, it's a death
This is a
game.
drinking
Because
podcast.
people will die if they
Take a shot every time we say finish.
Every time Ryan tries to pronounce Aimo Koivunen, take a shot.
Koivunen.
Oh my god. Koivunen! Anyway, Aimo Koivunen was part of, so in the original like Winter War, they've got like it's only like a couple month conflict, and the Russians get the snot kicked out of them by a tiny little Finnish force, but they do take 10% of Finnish land. Now, the continuation war happens later in the 40s when the Nazis launch Operation Barbarossa against the Russians, and the Finns they were trapped between the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, which is
Captain
the
Barbossa
most
from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
close. Close.
No, it's exactly. Yeah, no, you got it right. That's the guy. That's actually
him. That's who it's based off of.
He is immortal. Captain
But
Barbossa.
they were pretty much in the worst rock and hard place you could possibly ever be. So in the second continuation, where they kind of lightly allied with the Nazis, which doesn't
What do
make
you
the
mean,
Finns look
kind of and lightly?
like they would send
Yeah,
troops.
how do you
with
lightly align with Nazism?
See, they would well, here's the weird thing. They would let like their troops volunteer, but they wouldn't necessarily send their troops for the Nazis. They were just fighting on this. They were just both fighting against the Russians.
They just wouldn't stop their men from going.
If they decided to go fight for the Nazis, but most of them didn't. Most of them stayed in Finnish brigades.
Yeah, what year was this? Was this
1944.
before, like... So this is well during.
Yeah.
This is well during World War II. But you got to remember, they're also going up against the Russians, who...
This is just before it finished.
Oof. Yeah. It's weird.
What is that, 4?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I wonder what Hungary was doing this, just because I feel like that's a word I can play with.
Eating.
Anyway,
Eating
during
with
this
turkey.
time, so this is where we've got Aimo Koivunen. Sweet, thank you. Sweet Aimo was hanging out. He was doing his thing. It's the continuation war.
That was his nickname, actually. He's like, yeah, my name's Aimo Koivunen, but my friends call me just Sweet Aimo.
Sweet little Aimo.
Sweet Aimo.
So, by the way, just to put this into perspective, so they're fighting the Russians. They're finally trying to get like some ground back. The Finns are. It is 5 degrees Fahrenheit in Finnish hinterlands. It is so cold, and it gets colder when the sun goes down. It's 5 degrees when the sun is up. That's
Is that how that works? My gosh.
No. No, I
Funny
hate
how when the
that
night comes, it's just more
Ben,
cold.
that's like negative 80 degrees from Florida weather, to put
My
it in
African
perspective.
side just like shriveled up and
Let me
died.
just let me Google what it's like in my hometown of Orlando, Florida right now.
Right now.
Right now. So at the time of recording this, it is it's what 4 almost 5 o'clock in Orlando. It's currently 91 degrees. Feels like 100.
So just take down a feeling of 95 degrees. This is before wind
Yeah,
chill,
and-
by the way.
There's a constant 50% chance of thunderstorm every day this week.
Just constant. Good Lord. I actually love thunderstorms. Big fan.
They're just
I'm a
kind of a thing
big
for
fan.
me.
Ooh. Let's see what mine is like
Okay.
So
81.
it's stupid. It's 81 in Africa or
Yes.
Utah.
in Africa.
I love it. It's 81 in where? Africa or Utah. Two just vastly different places. Like, gosh, Dan really couldn't have picked the two most different places. To be.
Okay, so this is Finland, 1944. It's 5 degrees out at the hottest part of the day.
And this was before global warming, so you know it was cold.
It was.
Yeah, can we adjust for inflation on that?
Can we get an inflation on the global heat temperatures right now? So, by the way, they're skiing. So the way that the Finns beat the snot out of the Russians is they went skiing. They would just ski all around Finland because they knew the trails, they knew the backwoods, and so they'd ski, and then they would mount what's called Lottie anti-tank guns on skis and ski with them, and I think that's both amazing
I hate
and
how
adorable.
cute the Finnish fight was. They're like, we're going to load a Lottie's anti-tank gun, and we're going to go ski around it.
Yeah, why don't we guys? Should we go ski? And they went skiing.
This is the most effeminate guerrilla warfare I've ever heard of in my life. I'm just like
that
you just,
hurts
all
the
you hear in the
whitest.
tree. You're just like you're walking around the forest in Finland and it's dark out, and all you're hearing around you is wee, 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 ba, 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 wee.
Like, I mean, that's pretty much what they were doing. And the Finns were experts at guerrilla tactics. And so what goes on is that they continue
Triple
to mess.
sow cows and
Yeah. They're doing
anti-tank
sweet
weaponry.
things. Yeah. At one point, Aimo is hanging out and he sits down with his group, and they're trying to make tea. And that's when a group of Soviet soldiers. By the way, these guys have skied like over 100 miles. They have not slept well in days.
Wow.
The snow, I want to say, is up to 4 feet. Yeah, in some places. So it's like they're beyond knee deep at this point. The Russians end up finding this camp as they're getting ready to make some tea, and they start shooting at them. Now, the Finns start mining the area as quickly as possible, like a Call of Duty character, just hucking things so that they'll explode when the Russians
That
chase
is
them.
not my immediate reaction to being shot at.
Really?
But like, yeah, no, my immediate reaction is to shoot back.
They also were shooting back, but they were also
Okay.
mining an area.
They were they were shooting and tossing mines down
How
behind
effective
them.
is a mine being thrown into 4 feet of snow is my other question.
So it depends. They had,
Yeah.
especially if they were getting outfitted by like Germans at the time. They had, they called them like ball busters or bouncing betties, and they
Bouncing
were
betties.
yeah. They were bad. They would essentially go sit in the ground, and if you stepped near it, it would pop up into the air, spinning, and then explode with ball bearings. But it would come about groin height, which is like, yeah. No!
And so it's just like it's a pressure plate. So
I hate that.
as long as you set it for like the right, pressure and all that, it just like
It's effective. And owie.
gonna take
That
you
was
and your
super
children
effective.
out.
You went
Yeah.
for the nuts. Super effective.
Super effective. But the Russians... it was
Critical hit.
So this is a small patrol, by the way, of Finns that are...
Wait.
That are
Finish him.
Finish him.
We must follow the joke. We were like, come on.
Oh, guys, we're doing another Finnish guy after this, just so that we can have these for jokes. Anyway, after finishing them, the Russians are coming. It is a full platoon. They are well rested. They're in full snowsuits, and they vastly outnumber this tiny patrol. So they are like, well, we better get the heck out of here. But here's the thing: Aimo is tired. He's very sleepy, and he's not in a great position. And so he he's skiing away with his buddies as they're being shot at, which is not great. And as he's tired, he goes for this thing called Pervitin. Pervitin was military grade meth. And it was outfitted by the Germans and also a couple of like other groups. Yeah, this is the most Florida Finnish story that's ever existed.
Also, to have meth just in pill form seems wildly...
It's called Adderall, and it's pretty good for me.
True.
Dude, this is way
well, but
more
that's
than
what I was
Adderall.
gonna say. Adderall's a whole different story compared to something called Pervitin. Like,
Which, by the way, a healthy dose. There
either
was
it's
a
coming like
doctor-recommended dose
it's a
of meth.
it's a pervy drug or it's pervasive. One of the two, and you're gonna.
It was kind of both. It was really kind of both. To me, it was very pervasive in the German army. They loved it, and so did the Finns. And here's the thing: Aimo was given the entire unit's supply, which was 30 doses of Pervitin in like a little tube.
Yeah, no, perfect. Yeah,
As
give
you
it
do.
to one guy.
A
Give it
30-day
to one
supply.
guy.
Hey.
That's the thing. It was a 30-day supply because at the most you were supposed to take one a day. At the very most. Now he's starting
that's
to like.
how meth works. I don't know if you've seen people that have taken meth multiple times a day, but boy, are they not good at fighting world wars.
Right.
It's funny that they would need something like that when they're in 5-degree weather in 4 feet of snow. Like
They've
Yo,
skied
you'll
over
warm up pretty
100
quick.
miles.
yeah, carrying a lottie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, skiing with a Lottie, you know.
Skiing with a lottie.
You got Lottie and Betty.
Sounds so
just
gay still.
on skis.
It's a Lottie fun.
I'm skiing with a lottie.
I'm counting that one. 7.
It's going to get weirder. So they had this, and Aimo is trying to go like for it because he's starting to get tired and he's starting to fall behind his unit. He doesn't want to do that because if you fall behind,
Sure.
you're done. By the way, just to put it in perspective, he had only eaten one piece of bread early in the morning, and he hadn't slept properly in days, so he was starting to drift. And that's when this guy goes for the Pervitin. Now, he's going for one dose, but the problem is he's got heavy mittens on, which, again, adorable. He's got mittens.
Oh no, my hands!
Just a guy skiing cross country wearing big old mittens trying to take some meth. It's just a normal day in Finland in 1944.
Just a pretty, like, this is the closest I think I'll come to a happy,
He's
wholesome
like,
World War
I don't
II
know
story.
what to do.
I've got my middies.
I've got crocs on my hands. I can't get my proper meth dose with my crocs on.
My middies.
I do sympathize with him in not wanting to let my bare hands. Like, even though I'm about to take meth, I would also be like, but I don't want to expose my hands to the elements. It's too scary.
Yeah, I'm gonna expose my body to meth, but not my hands to the snow. Like,
As someone from Florida, I'm all right with those words in that order. Absolutely, that's a pretty normal thing. Most of us would rather take meth than deal with the snow.
well,
And that's why we live in Florida, where we can do both.
Yay!
get
Florida!
this. So
Wow.
things are gonna get a little wild. He went
They're
to
not
so
already.
30. So the 30 pills were in this like tube, and he couldn't get it open. So with his mittens, it made him clumsy, and he accidentally poured all 30 pills into his palm. And in a panic, while trying to run away from the Russians and also not show everybody that he had just taken all of the meth out, he just downed all 30.
Absolutely.
He took 30 times
Yes.
the recommended dose of
Absolutely.
meth. Without water, by the way, which I don't know why that's the most important part.
Yeah, that's
blows
the real.
my
That's the real.
mind.
To swallow meth without any water. That's the real. Kicker.
That's a real G
The
right
only
there.
thing
Yeah.
that the thing that blows my mind is that there was a recommended dose. That's where the
And dose
doctor
of
was
meth
like,
is no meth at all. Thank you.
"Listen, here's the meth. We're gonna give you all of it.
What's
But
the
only
meth?
take one a day."
What's the meth?
Hey,
maximum?
and don't get addicted to it.
The
I know it's a
Metsicum.
little bit crazy, but please don't get addicted.
Yeah,
I understand taking all of them.
He knew what
get
he
it.
was doing. He knew what he was
no.
doing. He had to.
No.
know, right?
'Cause, yeah, he knew what he was doing, but he didn't at the same time. Like,
Oh,
he
he
did not
definitely
know that he
didn't.
was taking. He did not know that he was taking 30 times the recommended amount of meth and about to end World War II single-handedly. He did know that he was covering his tracks. Like, what do you do when someone busts in on you, you slam the laptop shut, or you're writing a note, right? And someone busts in and like, let me see that. And you're like, no, and you shove it in your mouth. And he's like, well, people have busted in on me, and I have all this meth in my hand. What do I do?
What do I do with all the meth?
Well, you know that they probably had the conversation beforehand where it's like, where a friend was like, you know, they tell us to take 1 pill, but if you take 2 pills, you'll be incredible at your job.
You're going to get
And he was just like,
better.
I guess science isn't a thing. I'll just take 30 of them and it'll be the same logic.
This
And
can't
you
be
take-
bad for me.
If you take 30 meths and 5 ivermectin, you can survive World War II and COVID. Like, bro,
Wow.
you're crushing it right now.
You are just living. Well, this guy, so he took all of the meth, and then a few minutes later, Aimo was no longer tired or weak from anything. He was feeling energized. He was the
we talk about Shaggy being the invincible. At this point, he is the invincible god.
dude. It's like
Right?
a
If you're not
know,
ODing, if you're not ODing and you're still alive after 30 meth pills, you better believe that you are invincible.
You're a superhero. Remember that bear in North
Aimo
Carolina
is Shaggy.
that found a whole bunch of like cocaine in a bag, and it ate like 6 pounds of cocaine? It was a grizzly bear and just became the most apex predator that has ever existed until its heart exploded. Like, I mean, that's...
I
I did
imagine
not
at
know the
this
story.
point,
That needs to be your next story time.
Okay, we'll do that.
I
We
need
will
to
have fun with
know
it.
Cocaine Bear.
I
need
imagine
to know
Aimo
Cocaine
at this
Bear.
point turns around, looks at all the Russian soldiers, can hear their heartbeats, and just like slowly watches the bullets pass by his head. And he's like,
He's
It's
just
like, it's like
Daredevil.
Wonder Woman all over. It's like,
yeah. No, he's Peter Maximoff from the second
Yes.
Avengers movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But it's great. So he had full of energy, full of speed, but then when the pills really kicked in, about like 20 minutes later, he started tripping so hard. The surrounding landscape apparently started morphing before his eyes. He became super paranoid. And then started flashing in and out of consciousness, but did not stop skiing.
No, because you
So
can't
he
stop
wasn't- let
skiing.
me get
It's like he was just pulling a Ryan. Apparently 30 meth pills makes you a sleep skier.
Oh man.
Also, I want to know, you said he suddenly became paranoid. Was he not paranoid when all the bullets were flying past his head before?
No, that's pretty normal.
That's actually a really good
He's like-
question.
He's like, oh, this is fine. Oh, okay. Takes the
He was
meth pills and is like,
panicked before.
where am I? I'm in a war,
He's
dude.
paranoid now. He was panicked before. He was like, oh no, I'm gonna die. Then he took the meth and he became paranoid. So it went from panic to more of like, do you guys hate me?
You guys, if I die right now,
I
would you
feel
guys
like
go
you
to my
guys don't
funeral?
like me anymore. Is this why you're shooting at me?
Oh my gosh, that's kind
Why
of.
do they not like us? I'm gonna ask them.
By the way, just a side note, at some point, some of his Finnish buddies who were skiing with him noticed that he didn't look well at all, so they took all of his ammunition away from him. They were like, you don't need a gun right now. Like, you don't get guns. It's like,
And
took all
Aimo
of his
said,
ammunition.
I don't need guns.
Pretty much, his last rational
you have
thought before
meth, you
blacking
need
out
no gun.
was that he had made a huge mistake. And then
boy
he
is a
blacked
gun.
out. When he woke up, he just fell asleep, by the way, in a ditch. He falls asleep in a ditch. He wakes up with no food, no ammo, and no friends, which I guess the paranoia
Well,
was
yeah.
correct.
If you're taking 30 meth pills, I'm not gonna be your friend either, bro. I'm not an enabler.
Ben is like, they try to have an intervention with him
Just
while they're like
Ben,
in
a
the middle of
fair
the war.
weather
Like,
friend.
you have a problem, Aimo. It's a bad problem.
It's a
I'd
lot
look
of
at
meth.
Aimo, like everyone else in the unit would be like, come on, can you talk to him? And I'd be like, we were barely friends before.
I'm not going to talk to him about his
I'm not going to
meth
talk
problem.
to a meth head. By the way, I need my other meth pill, please. Thanks.
Yeah, can I get my
Yeah.
meth for the day? My daily dose of meth? Is that
I need
okay?
my 30-day supply because I'm about to run out. So
Yeah. I'm not an addict. I take mine one at a time.
I'm not an addict, I'm a soldier.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so he had no idea where he was, how he got there, or how much time had passed. By the way, a couple days. He had also drifted away from his buddies, or they might have decided to leave him. Either way, he might have, by the way, just methily skied off into the distance. That might have been what happened.
What a way to end the day.
Right? For the moment on, he kept blacking out and snapping back to reality. And then he just didn't know. He kept waking
goes
up
gravity.
in different. He really was me. He kept sleep sprinting. And as he blacked out, he would just move places. And he did not know where he was going. Now, at some point, Aimo wound up on top of a hill and he spotted a fire burning. And he thought, that must be Germans. Maybe they'll help me out. And so he starts skiing towards the Nazis to help him, which is a weird sentence to say.
Absolutely.
So he starts skiing towards the Nazis, and he is coming in hot because he's still methed out of his mind. And as he's merrily skiing towards them, he finds out those are not Germans. Those are Russians.
Oh, the other people we don't like. Yes.
Yeah, the people that are very angry that he exists. But luckily for him, the Russians who are making camp for the night pretty much just look up and see this methed out Finn just skiing towards them, happy as a lark. And they just don't shoot at him because they have no idea what's going on. They're just confused.
The most confusing, distracting thing they've ever seen in their life. They're like, is that a Finnish man skiing down the mountain on meth right now?
Right, just complete happy.
Yeah,
to see us?
I don't imagine a meth head skiing is going to look very normal either. It was probably like,
Yeah. Well, at that point,
He just starts teleporting.
he's
and in that moment he
through
invented
trees.
snowboarding.
Like,
Loses a ski. I got it. It's fine.
by the way, fun thing, because they needed to like grab their guns because they had been making camp, so they weren't expecting him. They try to go for their guns. And they straight up, some try to chase him, and you know what? That's when he realizes that they're Russians, and he just blows by them. He just like unstoppably
Sorry
able
about
to
that.
catch them. Yeah, sorry, and just he became Canadian for like a quick second.
Thought
It's
you
like
were
a
my
90s
friends.
comedy movie where it's like, sorry, didn't mean to grab all of your food and supplies.
Yeah.
You know, when they like crash through the buildings? I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's
He's
exactly
still
what it's
seeing
like.
stuff. He's still hallucinating. There's like, what's Yogi Bear's
I was
like,
gonna
little
Hey, boo boo.
Boo-boo.
Boo Boo? Yeah. Gee, Aimo, I don't think the Russians would like this very much.
I was going to say, I don't think he's seeing people at this point.
Well, that's
not-
actually the thing. He is hallucinating so hard that he doesn't even know what's going on. At a certain point, he is... oh my gosh. And here's the thing. This is like a week into this, and we are so far from over. Aimo survived on water and pine needles and meth for a while. He's
Wow.
just taking pine needles and just chewing on them. He's got water because there's snow all around him. And of course, you know, the meth is still in his system. This meth stayed in his system for way too long. Anyway, he hallucinated some more, talked with absent friends that weren't there, fought an imaginary Wolverine, which ended up turned out to be a tree branch. He just started beating the stuff.
Okay.
How did they prove that section of the storyline?
Because I think they were like, Wolverines don't exist where you were right now, my guy. Like, they were like...
I think he was just on Impractical Jokers. So there were 3 men following him with cameras the whole time.
Just
watching
yeah,
this
there we
movie.
go. He also had a wrist compass, which would have been really helpful had he not freaked out and shattered it. And he lost his backpack in the process. So all of his gear, he's got everything, but he's got his skis because this
And
man...
he's got some pine needles.
Pine needles, skis, and a lot of enthusiasm. He found an abandoned cabin and he decided to start a fire on the middle of the cabin floor.
Yeah.
And
And
he
you
just-
have to hide yourself from the Russians. So you have to do the fire indoors in
Inside.
a wooden
It's
wooden
a
house.
wooden cabin. So as he does this may shock no one in particular, it starts burning down the cabin and he just starts scooching away from it so that it doesn't set him on fire. And he keeps scooching, and then of course the whole cabin collapses to the ground. He gets out in time. And then he gets up, he puts on his skis, and he hits the road again. He's still high as a kite. Just after just setting, can you imagine also if you owned that cabin and you come back? You'd never guess methed out Finn burned it down by
Yeah.
starting
Well,
a fire.
okay.
You
But this
just
is the
come
other
back.
thing.
You've just come back from like a skiing trip with your buddies, and your cabin's burned to the ground. And you're like, oh no, Aimo!
Like Wrath of Khan. Well, one of my favorite parts is that after this, he then sees a farmhouse and he just starts skiing towards it. He
I
starts
don't like
skiing.
that you put quotes around farmhouse.
Yeah, you're not gonna like it. He saw a lit up farmhouse and started skiing towards it. And he skied dozens of miles for hours until he realized that was the North Star. He was just skiing after
What?
the North Star so
How?
high. How big did he think the farmhouse was? Yeah, it's the math. Yeah, it's the
It's
math.
the math.
It's definitely the math.
Wow.
By the way, so the next morning after
So he never
followed-
found a farmhouse. I just want to make sure that's clear.
No, but he actually did come across an abandoned German outpost after he'd. So I guess the North Star kind of hooked him up. There he was. He sees,
baby Jesus.
right? Yeah.
The star
kinda-
guided me.
It guided me. Well, here's the thing. It did not guide him to salvation, though. It guided him into a German outpost. And the Germans, whenever they'd leave an outpost, they would do this thing where they'd booby trap it. So Aimo goes on and he's looking for food, which he hasn't eaten, by the way, in about 10 days at this point.
Well, he's had meth.
He has had meth.
That keeps you pretty full.
He is so methed out. He immediately walks into the thing, and the Germans had put down a trap, and so he sets off an explosion, and it, like, rips up through his right leg. So his foot is now pretty much bone splinters, grated flesh, and he just all of a sudden is a little less high, I'd assume. Like, just...
Yeah, that'll sober you up.
But
I don't know if
apparently...
any of you guys have been super high on methamphetamine before, but if you just inflict a massive amount of pain to your own body, you'll just kind of start realizing where you are.
Hey, where am I? I'm in a German outpost.
Yeah, right.
As you do.
I think I'm here now. But here's the thing. That didn't stop him. Like, he just...
No, because why would it?
He kept trying to go through this German camp. He tried a door to a dugout and set off a second explosion.
Absolutely.
And it kind of
Just to make sure that
off.
the first one wasn't a hallucination. He was like, I've been seeing a lot of stuff. Maybe I just imagined my right leg being blown off. Let me make sure. And then he's like, well, let me throw my left leg in here, do the hokey pokey, turn myself about.
I think I
and
know. I think
flip again.
I think he knew what he was doing. He was like, "Oh, this is how I can stop this meth nightmare. I'm gonna keep going."
I'm gonna try more explosions. And by the way, this is one of my favorite modes. So that second explosion was like a shape charge on the door that he was opening up. It sent him 30 meters, 90 feet into the snow. His clothes and shoes are torn to shreds from the explosion, and he was still holding the doorknob from the door. Like freaking Wile E. Coyote.
Why would you let go of it? At that point, you're like, this is the only thing tethering me to reality right now.
To
I
Earth.
cannot let go.
Yeah, man. That's like who, what? And so essentially, after he'd been blown up twice, he just laid in the snow. He had no weapons, no food, no compass. Now he was exploded. He's half naked and he's tripping still out of his mind. So he crawled into a ditch and he went to sleep. He went to sleep.
That's the only choice. The only logical choice you have at that point is crawl into a snowy ditch and just fall asleep.
I'm bleeding.
Why
out.
try
My leg has been
anything
blown
else for the
out,
rest of that day?
Blown off. I should
At
keep
that point,
walking.
you've had
It's
the
not
worst
first
day
bullet.
ever. You know, I mean, like you're done. Like at that point, nap time is what's needed. But
His friends must have hated him at that point because they're like, oh man, I had a rough day at work today. And Aimo was like, oh, did ya? Did you have a rough day at work? Okay. No,
I had a
tell me about it.
Wolverine
I
attack
want
me.
to hear it.
I'm
I know, that
naked
was
in
a
the
tree
snow
branch.
in 5 degrees after taking 2 explosions. Also, by the way, during this time, as he's laying in the ditch, he kept like needing food. So at one point, he catches somehow, we don't know how he did it. I'm guessing the meth. He catches with his bare hands a Siberian jay and just eats it raw. Just a bird. How do you catch a bird? He caught a bird with his. He didn't have a gun.
You can speak to animals if you take.
If
the
you've taken
proper
enough meth.
amount of
I have
yeah.
seen meth heads do incredible
definitely-
things with animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I've also seen an 8-year-old capture a squirrel with her bare hands. So I think children and adults on a lot of meth are pretty
Much the same
on
person.
par. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually weirdly makes a kind of lot of sense to me. Anyway, as this happens, he crawls back into his ditch, and then a few days later, a group of Finnish soldiers stumble upon him. And so as they do, they're like, that had to be startling to stumble upon that dude and be like, do we bring him back? Do we? Or is this a
At that
choice?
point, I think my first thought is, Dad, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a dead man.
No, but they find him and they shake him and he's awake and he looks up at them and he's like, They're like, we're gonna send help to come get you. By the way, they found an abandoned German outpost that had turned into a minefield because that's what the Germans had done, and then just this naked high Finn who's just hanging out.
They're just following his tracks at the point. They come across the Russian outpost. The Russians like, we don't know what we saw, but it went that way. And then they go across, and there's a burned down log cabin. And they go some more. There's a fully exploded German outpost and just a piece of a dead bird, like 90 feet away.
Just a foot.
And they're like, do you think Okay, do you guys think this is Aimo? Like, we'll put money on it. This is either Aimo
Is it that
or
guy that skied past us earlier? Because it feels like it.
This is either Aimo or the actual abominable snowman.
And that's pretty much so. While he waited there, either for the Russians to find and kill him or the Finns to come save him, like he's just hanging out, waiting, and then the Finns come back and they actually do rescue him. And when he was finally brought to a field hospital, his heart rate was still at 200 beats per minute from the meth. He had been gone, guys, for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and he was still, and he still had meth in his system. He, by the way,
It is not that shocking, Ryan. He took 30 meth pills. Okay,
you know what?
It's like you're gonna have to work a lot to get that.
Well, we didn't discover
What's
like
the hang
deep breathing
time from meth,
exercises.
You know, like how long does meth stay in
Depends
your
how
system?
high you jump from.
Now,
But this isn't just regular meth. This is Pervitin.
This is military grade meth.
This is military grade meth, and it's worse for you and lasts longer.
Gosh,
That's the advertisement. It's worse for you, and it lasts longer.
He had been.
Yay!
I mean,
Yeah,
but how bad is it if he stayed alive on 30 of them, right? Like,
That's true. There had to be. To be fair, there had to be some part of this that helped him.
The CDC
You know what I mean?
just like, we actually have some questions for you.
Yeah.
I don't think this meth is as bad as we think it is.
Right? I don't know. This meth, good meth.
We didn't run a whole lot of tests on it. Like, this is just like this is stage 1 of the test trial.
This
Yeah,
is
this is
really
only
just
a
a
phase
white
1
meth.
trial. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is white meth.
This is not phase
Did
4.
you experience any side effects? Oh, you said paranoia. Well, that's not bad. You fought a Wolverine. Well, you lived, so that's a benefit.
Wait,
so that,
was
we'll
it
just put that
Wolverine?
in the
Because we see here tree branch.
We're
police
just seeing a
report
lot of
says
pine
a lot
needles
of
in your
things.
skin. Crazy.
Oh my gosh! I just to put this into perspective, by the way, when he got
'Cause
back,
we
he had
need
been
that,
gone
absolutely.
for 2 weeks. He had covered over 250 miles. He had moved 250 miles and weighed 94 pounds.
Damn.
But what did he start at?
Actually, just tell me what he starts at. Let me see.
He started at 96 pounds. Like
98 pounds. No. He I think he weighed in like the 140s.
So
So,
he
like,
lost a considerable amount. But how much of that is from 250 miles worth of cross-country skiing, and how much of that is from the meth?
No
Do we
food.
really know?
Also, his heart rate is 200 beats per minute. Of course, he's like perfectly
burning
fine,
calories.
right? Yeah, he's burning calories,
yeah.
and his heart is pumping all the blood to all the necessary spots, right? He's just like, it's like,
And
you
the
will be
unnecessary
warm
spots.
no matter what. Also,
Yeah,
you burn down a log cabin, and that's pretty warm too. So,
Yeah, I mean, this man just really, this is quite a workout program. I'll tell you that. Like, that was,
Yeah.
what a weight loss journey. This guy,
I
the
also
people,
just want to say, he blew off his right leg, and then we're all like, oh, he was 90 pounds. He blew off his leg. Like, that's
well,
a
no,
good
he
portion
still
of
kept
the
the leg.
body.
He actually did keep the leg. He shredded it pretty good, but he kept it.
Yeah, he kept
He
it in a
also,
backpack.
he also kept skiing after that. He didn't stop skiing. He was not done.
The meth.
Right.
My man.
Skiing isn't just a sport. It's a way of life.
Look, man, this,
He
by the
kept
way,
trying to find the farmhouse. He was like, "It's there, guys. I promise.
it's there.
It's there. I
The
see
North
it."
Pole farmhouse. By the way, just to let you guys know, he survived not only that, but the entire war, and he went on to live to be 71 years old. He died in 1989. He almost made it to the 90s.
Wow.
As just the most method. And legend has it, that's when his heart finally stopped beating under 200 beats per minute.
I think the worst
That's when
part of
the
this
meth
story
left his system.
is after all of that, after everything that he'd been through during World War II and all of the meth and all of that, he never got to experience Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh.
Wait, I want to know how he died. Do we know the cause of death?
He just died of old age. Yeah, he just passed away. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
meth isn't
unnatural-
actually that bad for you, so.
Yeah, that's what we learned from
It
this.
helps you live
obviously.
to 71.
It'll give you paranoia, but you'll also gain the power to speak to animals.
I'm glad that we don't have a sponsor on this episode because we're like, meth is good.
I think
Oh,
the
sorry,
German
did I not
serial
tell you
killer
guys?
ones would have been worse. Brought to you by Manscaped. No. You know what? This man could have used less pubic hair while skiing 250 miles.
It really would have just cut down on his
ball deodorant.
aerodynamics.
That's what he needed.
Yeah, he needed ball deodorant. And less meth. You know what they say? Ball deodorant. It's like meth
When
for your
you're
balls.
tripping on meth, the one thing you need is less pubic hair.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is the story of Aimo Koivunen. And he is just an absolute freaking legend. The Finns have multiple people from World War II that you just hear their stories and you're like, what? How? How did that happen?
Wow.
Yeah, he died peacefully at the age
drugs.
of
So
71.
that's the finish of the story.
Yeah. Some would say it is Finn.
Finn. La
Finn.
Nish.
9.
Guys, should we move on to one of our favorite topics, the audience submissions?
Yeah, the last
Yeah.
segment of the day. And I'll kick this one off. Our first submission from Renee says, "Hey all, I wanted to say how happy this podcast makes me when I'm, doing homework. Helps me get through the blues and always gives me a good chuckle. I have 2 questions. If you could plant a vegetable in any climate anywhere, where would it be and why? 2, if you got a large following for any other reason, how would you have gotten it?" I would have planted watermelons in Finland
Vegetable?
in 1944.
Is that a vegetable?
No, it's just for the meth heads so that they can have a lot of watermelon as they ski around.
Is watermelon a vegetable?
I don't think so.
No, it's fruit.
Yeah, it's definitely a fruit.
Okay, well then just pick a vegetable. I don't care. Just pick a very sustaining vegetable, and I want to plant it in Finland in 1944.
I would like some turnips. I feel like that would be...
Turnips where? Any climate.
I want broccolini. I want to see what broccolini tastes like. I still have not tried broccolini.
Also not. No,
You
I
can
might have.
just go buy broccolini.
Let's not get crazy.
I feel like Utah doesn't have it. I've looked
So
everywhere.
you'd want to plant broccolini in Utah.
No, not in Utah. Ew. But in...
That was part of the question.
I want to go
what
to
climate?
Ben's house, to his orchard, and plant broccolini. There you go. That's my answer.
Okay.
For those of in the audience that don't know, Ben's house has an orchard.
It doesn't have an orchard. It has a few fruit
It has
trees.
pretty much every fruit tree, though. If
Just
we're honest.
one, though.
One of everything.
Spinach is one of the healthiest vegetables on earth. I'd just plant that everywhere. I'd just be like the Johnny Appleseed of spinach. I also loved cream spinach. It's fantastic.
Okay,
I
Popeye.
do love cream spinach. Although I did get food poisoning from cream spinach once.
I have also. It definitely messes me up, but I think it's something that's going on in the butter thing.
Yes,
like there's just
yeah.
so much butter, and it's so good.
So
So Ryan wants to be Popeye, basically.
Popeye the Sailor Man.
Okay, and then part 2 of this question is, if you got a large following for any other reason, how would you have gotten it? I'm just gonna say what we're all thinking: cult leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Thank God.
cult leader.
Yeah, you'd definitely be a cult leader.
for winning Provo's Most Eligible, in an alternate universe, I tried to remain straight, and I won the whole show, and people loved it.
Okay, I can see that.
I honestly think for me, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get a large following for anything because I don't really do anything.
Yeah,
like,
what
I
would
mean,
I have?
maybe
It is a
for,
really
like-
good question to ask, because it's like, what would I have possibly used any of my other talents for in that regard?
I guess I would have worked for the government, so I mean, maybe if I was doing like government work, but you don't get famous for that because you don't get ideally.
I feel like
Just
all of
get
us could be
erased
politicians.
History, yeah,
I could
that's the
still
thing.
be a politician. People ask me all the time to do it.
Yeah. And to be honest though, I guess like Robert Ressler, I guess if I was like the closest thing, like maybe if I took that approach to it, but which he's the guy that does like, counter-terror stuff. So he was neat. He still is neat. He's still alive. I don't know why I said it past tense. Thanks for still existing, Robert. Anyway, next thing we got it from Jordan L. Hello, I've been listening to the podcast since day one and love it. Thank you so much. I wanted to know what memes you would describe each other as. I'd say Ben is the hold my beer meme, Dan is the Kermit sipping tea meme, and Ryan is the dual Spider-Man meme. Keep up the great work. I love that so much.
I mean, it is very true, it feels like.
I'm not well versed in memes. I couldn't even answer this one. I don't think.
You're definitely the hold my beer meme. I feel like
The only one that I know that I've used like a couple times is the surprised Pikachu.
we do love surprise Pikachu. I think Dan would be the especially after we say ridiculous things, is just the Sully meme of when he goes like it's just like, what are they talking about?
I'll Google it later.
Yeah.
Ben is the what is not the international man of mystery. Remember that one guy who's like he was the beer commercial.
The most interesting
man in the world. There you go. And Brian, you have to be something like, I don't know, wholesome. It has to be a very wholesome meme, and I'm trying to think of what it would be. I don't know if I do a lot of wholesome memes, unfortunately.
Isn't there one that like tells puns and he's just really happy about it?
I feel like I'm the meme of that lady doing math in her head, but like confused all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
Ryan's the one where like the seal has its like lips tucked in and is like.
maybe like an otter one. I love otters.
There you go. Cool.
All right, moving on to
Alex
Dune.
J says, I'm moving back to LA in the beginning of October, and I was wondering if Ryan would like to go out and grab a drink with me.
I've got a lot of questions. Do you promise
Yes.
not to stab me?
Yes.
Like this is all.
I
Al-
can't promise that.
Right now, Ben cannot. That also depends on what part of the city you're in, because honestly, you're gonna learn really quick that driving
Do you
is
even
just.
drink?
I drink a little bit, yeah. I drink occasionally, but not, yeah. So I guess that is up in the air. This is. I gotta be honest though. This is the worst way to get a hold of me, just because like I've got no idea who you are. I've got no idea like how to get a hold of you to be like, sure, you know what I mean? Like that's why I'm just like, I don't know if I can get a hold of you right now.
Yeah, so Alex, what you're gonna want to do is send Ryan a DM on Instagram inviting him to your wedding, and then surprise him by saying that it's actually
just a
also
drink.
his wedding.
It's your wedding. Surprise.
I'm really hoping I don't get kidnapped. Mostly
I feel
because
like
I'm
that'd be
an
a fun
adult.
story for the podcast.
Oh, it definitely would. If I survive, it's gonna be great.
I'd
The
come
things
get
it
you.
would do for my career. Yeah, you would. Oh man, Ben would
We'll get you
definitely
30
be
meth
Liam
pills,
Neeson.
Ryan, so that if
I
ever
think
you're
I would do
kidnapped,
it-
you can just take 30 meth pills wherever you're at, and then you'll be fine.
Just a roughly.
I would do it just to see if I could. Yeah, you're cool. I would come save you because you're cool or whatever. But I think like most of my motivation would just be like, let me just see if I can.
That would make a good story in and of itself, and then I'm just the computer guy that's like, hello?
Garcia.
You're Ned. Yeah. Go for it.
All right, next question from Magpie M. One, you guys are delightful pockets of serotonin that help me through my days of selling my soul to Excel to support a nonprofit. My question is, what is your favorite pun? I may or may not include these in my wedding vows. Also, Ryan, you are 100% invited.
Finish.
Just any Finland puns. I feel like most of the time the puns, they got to be kind of natural. So for like wedding puns, man, I'm trying to think of like vow jokes.
Something
or like,
blue, I'm already depressed.
oh my gosh.
Is it something borrowed if I never give it back?
Oh man.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Ryan. The puns are always just like on the spot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is this man, I can't believe that this is I can't believe this marriage. It's almost like it's a mirage. Like I don't know, something like
No,
it was bad.
don't do that.
I'm trying.
Magpie, don't.
Magpie, do it.
Don't.
Do it for
Don't
me.
do it.
Do it in your wedding vows. I vow. Let's come up with a pun for vow.
Vow. Or we could do ring or dress. Or
Oh yes. Let's come up with a few. Hold on.
Like to.
Ooh.
I'm gonna
just
read the
say
next one, and you guys
first
take some
name-
time to think
say-
about it.
What? No, I already got it. Look, first whoever is if you're taking the last name, right? You say your first name, their last name has a really nice ring to it.
That's good.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one. I actually
And
like
so does
that
my
a lot.
left hand. I'm going to show it to everyone forever, even if they don't ask.
No, yeah.
You don't have to put that last part in there, but the first part, absolutely. Okay, last question.
Last question is this from Anna W. Hello, I just made it home, St. Louis area. That's where I'm from. That makes me very happy. From the show in Morris, Minnesota. That is such a commitment, and thank you so much for coming
you
out.
for
Probably,
coming out.
only a few hours away.
Is it only a few hours?
I think that's...
It's probably like 10 hours drive.
Let me see it. I'm pulling it up right now. Wait, St. Louis Park. That's not what I'm looking for. Wait, what? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess 10 hours from
Dan,
St.
what's your
Louis, Missouri to Morris, Minnesota.
Who was that?
I guess
Did
12.
we meet this person? Did they tell us?
10
who
hours
they
and
were?
44 minutes. Nice guess, Ben. That was solid.
What is it?
10 hours and 44 minutes.
Nice.
Did
Yeah.
we know who this person was?
I remember talking to them after the show. They told me they were from St. Louis, and I was like, "Please tell me you're staying here tonight and like leaving." They were like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, good."
Thank goodness.
Okay.
Anna, thank you so much for taking that nearly 11-hour drive to come see us. Holy
Wow.
cow. Truly hope you three
Wow.
know how much you help people just by making them laugh and forget, even for a night, their problems. Thanks again. Also, sorry if my constant apologizing for being nervous was annoying. I say weird, annoying things when I'm nervous, like I'm tall, sorry. That's really funny, because I have a feeling you said that to Ben.
Probably.
And also, never apologize for being awkward when you meet people. I'm awkward all the time. So you just kind of live with it. It's fine. It's a good thing. Also, finally, I'm with Ben on the great grilled cheese debate. Just because you
Absolutely.
add meat or other ingredients doesn't change the fact that the cheese is the main part of the sandwich. It just makes it better grilled cheese. I think it makes it a melt. And gosh, I want to melt so bad right now.
Stop it.
Oh man, I
Stop
want
it.
I really
Get on
Stop
that
it.
DoorDash app.
It's a
Yeah.
grilled cheese unless it's specifically a melt. There has to be a difference. We'll Google it.
We will.
I'm gonna ask Gordon Ramsay on TikTok, and whatever he says is final.
That's 100% true. Can we get Gordon Ramsay to do this? Like to
Yeah,
figure-
I'll message him. I'll send him an email.
I was just curious. None of us are mutuals with him, are we?
No.
No.
Okay.
I need to
Probably-
start
we
my
probably-
food blog. I need to start my food blog
Yes, you
ASAP,
do.
and then we can.
We
start
probably
getting
would have a
Ramsay.
better chance at reaching out to his daughter Tilly and having her see it and respond than actually getting him to respond.
Honestly, Tilly Gordon, that would still work. That would still definitely work if she
She
gave
knows.
us the final answer. Yeah, she's got the genetics of knowing about good food.
Sure, because that's genetic.
It's science. Well,
All
taste
right.
buds, that's genetic.
Taste buds are genetic. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that is it. That is all. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 25 of The Good, the Day, and the Florida Man. We hope you enjoyed your stay. Next week, we will be sharing stranger stories. So if you have a fun story that you want us to read live on the podcast and react to it, feel free to email us your story with all of the juicy details and try not to say anything too weird or gross. We already have some for next week, so stay tuned. Stick around for those.
Or incriminating.
But if you want to, if you guys want to reach out to us outside of the podcast, Ryan, where can they find you?
YouthPastorRyan.com. And Dan.
Dan Bam Bam on all social media except for Snapchat, which is at Dan_YOLO
Love.
Ben.
And you can find me at benbrainard.com. It's Brain A-R-D. If you can't figure that out, try using yours. You can also find the podcast at gdfmpodcast.com, and you can contact the podcast by email at podcast@gdfmpodcast.com. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We hope you come back next week. Bye!
Bye.